had a similar experience when I was in Tanzania, which I need to send you more pictures from that.
Wait, when were you in Tanzania?
I told you I went to Tanzania. I went there for Thanksgiving.
You went to Africa for Thanksgiving?
Yes, I was in Tanzania for a week. I posted pictures. I told you before I left.
Where was I?
I don't know, because I sent you pictures. I sent you stuff on. No, it wasn't WhatsApp. I actually sent you through text because I didn't, because you never responded.
I didn't.
If you did have
Maybe
WhatsApp.
you sent it to somebody else. I think you were one number off.
I was in Tanzania for a week. It was amazing. I had the best time.
You went to Africa.
I went.
Did you go on safari?
Yes.
Are you going to remember what we're talking about? Because I'm going to go on a detour. We're going to go deep
yes,
into
I
the.
I will remember. I will remember everything. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
The safari.
Yes.
It's amazing. I'm going to show you.
This is your first time?
This is my first time going on safari. We went to the Sila Reserve. The Sila Reserve is 55,000 kilometers. It's the size of New Jersey, within Tanzania. It's the whole thing. Shout out to Promise, our guy who was amazing, who loved us. He said we're his favorite black people.
He says that to all the black people. You have to know.
But he doesn't have enough black people. He doesn't have enough black people. And he was the last night that we were there. We were like, we would always joke, we're your favorite black folks, whatever. First off, he let us drive the boat. He let us drive the Jeep, and he let us get out of the Jeep and try and run with the giraffes and zebras. Now I know.
Are you serious?
Yes, I know that was not. I know we didn't sign release for that.
Were there lions out there?
We didn't see any lions, but there were out there.
You ain't got to see them.
Yeah, I know.
Lions are sneaky like
They're
that.
Fast.
So this is my question.
It was amazing.
Normal black people don't get out of the Jeep and run with the damn animals because we know.
It was with giraffes. It was giraffes and zebras.
Yeah, but there's lions somewhere. You felt no danger?
We would have known. So this happened on like the first day, right? And by the way, I tell people this all the time. Since I came back, this was probably the best trip. And I went to Brazil earlier this year. This is the best trip I've ever taken in my life. The food was amazing. The safari was fantastic. The stuff that you realize that you get used to very quickly. We had this beautiful resort. I'm going to show you all these pictures. This beautiful resort. And we had this giant bungalow. And then the rooms were like banging and everything else. And what you realize is in America, when you're home, right, you associate bugs and insects and stuff like that with things being unclean. Right? Because if you see bugs and insects, here in the city or whatever, it's like, oh, it means it's garbage. No, you're on safari. Within about 24 hours, you realize, like, there are lizards and geckos just kind of running around, but they're fine. They ain't trying to bother you. They're just going to walk in and out of your room. So we all laughed about, like our girl Chels comes to breakfast in the morning. She's like, anybody else get the fruit basket? Because the host gave us fruit baskets, right? And we're like, oh, I haven't had ours or whatever. And she was like, she said, the monkeys came into her room and ate her fruit basket while she was sleeping. And when she woke up, they just kind of looked at her. There were monkeys all over the place. Baboons chilling.
Just in the room, like, thanks for the fruit.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Dipped her banana in salt, was eating the banana when she woke up. And just like looked at stuff. They're all over the place. The giraffes are beautiful. You ever see a giraffe in person? We were right next to this river where you could hear the lions in the morning. You could hear the hippos in the morning. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm not big on this kind of hyperbole, but it is literally life altering. And I strongly advise, this is my thing, go with a group. Go with like cool people. You don't want to do a trip like that. I mean, you go with somebody, your significant other, whatever, that's cool. But you don't want to do that alone. You really want to be with a group of fun people to enjoy safari because it's an experience you want to share.
Let me ask you this, because Trump's son flew somewhere to
and
kill.
Goes and murders animals. Yeah.
Yeah, and the lady that killed the giraffe and took a picture. There's a level of soullessness that I can never comprehend, never could understand how you can take a beautiful elephant with the memory they live for live hundreds, plus years, 100 plus years.
Yep.
Soulful beings, giraffes, soulful beings, murder something like that, not bothering you. And you're not murdering it for food.
Yeah, not for
You're
food,
not murdering it for fur.
Nope.
You're not murdering it because you need you're just killing it with an elephant gun because you want to feel strong and powerful. And it goes something to Watchmen, right?
Yeah.
True power is having it and not using it.
There you go.
True power is knowing that you're powerful.
That's back to Schindler's List. I choose not to. I mean, the person. Look, everybody can show a flex. Restraint is where you show your true ability. And I'll adding to this. When you're out with those animals, and this is the key thing about being on safari, they're in the wild, right? You're in their home. They don't take care of these things. They don't look after them because you will see. I'm gonna show you a picture. We saw a giraffe skeleton. Thing had been eaten, like jumped and attacked by Those probably lions like a dare super. First and foremost, you've never smelled anything like that in your life. It's the craziest, sourest smell, but you've never seen anything that big dead. But what you realize is these animals are relatively peaceful. They're only really messing with each other. They are really no danger to a regular human being. There is no reason today for any human being to go out and kill any of those things because they're not causing you any problems. The elephants are walking around. The impalas are walking around. We even saw warthogs. I will say this. Warthog ribs are amazing. I felt no guilt about eating Pumbaa. It was delicious.
Oh my gosh, you are so complicated.
It was delicious. It was. They had a whole barbecue for us the last night. We had impala. We had Pumbaa.
You ate impala?
Yeah, it was great. All those. It's funny. All those Disney Lion King words that I thought were like fake or made up. People in Tanzania actually say Hakuna Matata.
Do they?
Yeah, and I haven't even gotten to when we went to the where the slaves are being sold and slave pens and everything
else
like that.
The human
the
beings?
Enslaved, the
human beings that were sold
human
into
beings
bondage.
who were sold into bondage. Yes, for all these filthy animals to live in this country today. Yes.
Why did you decide to take this trip?
How
did it come about?
So it came about because a friend of mine, you saw this friend come in a couple months ago, puts together these big trips. Probably 2 or 3 a year. And she goes to, they'll go to like Sundance Film Festival. They'll go to Ibiza and everything else like that. And this year, she's like, hey, I really want to, and I was like, okay. She's like, we're thinking of Tanzania. And everybody wanted to go in early November. I was like, I can't do that because it's election time. I probably have work to do on the air. I said, if people don't mind missing Thanksgiving, let's do Thanksgiving. So that's what we decided. Everybody had time off. It was fantastic. I also flew, shout out, and I would love any sort of endorsements at any particular time. I flew Arab Emirates. Oh, my God, it was gorgeous. I did a whole Naomi Campbell thing with the seats are so big. You get to lean back. They give you dress down service or turn down service.
Was it a direct flight?
No, so I flew into Dubai. And it was in
Dubai.
Why
I was in. Okay, that's why you flew that airline.
Yeah, and then you fly into Dar es Salaam, hung out with some friends from Atlanta there because black people everywhere. And then,
are we?
Yes, everywhere. It's 2 folks who we knew who used to work at the CDC. So yeah, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. I strongly encourage it.
Okay, was this your first time in Africa?
No, I'd been to South Africa before, but I was mostly in Durban or Melville. But this is my first time sort of just being out there. And when we were out sort of Zanzibar in the city. And I tell people this: when you think about these trips, the expense is part of it. But the other thing is, and I tell people this all the time as somebody who used to travel poor, right? Like when I was in grad school, I was just broke as hell. If you decide that you want to go to somewhere on the continent, not Europe, forget Paris, forget Italy, whatever else, what you realize is when you go to the continent, the money that you spend on your flight, you make back because the exchange rate is so good. It was $1 to 2,200 Tanzanian shillings. You could buy a beautiful tailored suit. It would be 200,000 shillings. It's $86. We ate cheap. We dressed cheap. We bought souvenirs cheap. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff you can do there. So if you can swallow the cost of getting there, and again, I flew like first class because I'm petty like that. And
why is that petty?
I mean, look, some people feel that that's like a flex. For me, if I'm going to be on a plane for 17 hours, that is part of my trip. I learned that when I flew to Brazil. I got a last minute ticket and had back problems when I landed. Cost me like half a day. I ain't trying to do that. So I will spend money to make sure if I'm going to be on a plane for more than 5-6 hours, I want to make sure I'm comfortable. But you spend your money however you want to spend it to get there, but you ain't going to spend that much when you're there. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. We had a fantastic time.
I love that. I'm looking forward to going to the continent myself.
Yes. My mother took her first trip earlier this year. She loved it. She went to Kenya with a group of her friends from church, and she's going to be going to Nigeria next year. Probably find some of our old relatives.
I love it.